Hello, my name is Victoria Seed and I am coming to you live from the Vesta Approach in Manchester, UK on this pretty dark day, so I've had to put my light on today. So what do? I help families who are affected by a loved one's problem, drinking or drug use, to reduce stress, learn strategies to cope, live a better life and have the best chance possible of influencing a loved one to change. So I do this by teaching really effective strategies to cope through my one-to-one group programs and my membership as well. And I can help you too. Have a range of support available. If you are watching, or professionals, if you are watching, join in, comment, ask any questions. If you really cannot be asked listening to a live, I am introducing a brand new opportunity this week where you can get the transcripts of these sessions so that you don't even have to listen to it. So you might be a little bit more of a reader than a listener or a viewer, and that's fine as well. So I'm going to meet your needs. If you want to get hold of the transcripts, you can head over and download my freebie, which is a PDF straight into your inbox. 10 ways to family recovery. You'll come onto my mailing list, and every week I send an email out with the news, with updates, with the live, and the transcript will be in there. So go and get hold of that. All right, so what are we talking about this week? What is it going to take for your loved one to change? So if you are living with a loved one's drug or alcohol use, you may feel like you have tried absolutely everything. You might not even know what you're doing. You might feel completely overwhelmed. However long you've known, whoever it is, a partner, a spouse, a adult child, whoever it is, this stuff can work for you. So let's have a think about this. I always say that in order for a family to support a loved one to change, the role is all about tipping the balance so that being sober is more attractive than being intoxicated. So as an affected family member, you can't change somebody else, but you can influence a change. And you can do that by changing things within yourself, changing the way that you respond to certain situations. Okay. And it's not that you need to change, but do you know what? If you wait around waiting for your loved one to change, you could be waiting for a very long time, right? So why not do a little bit of work yourself and try and speed that process along? If you can't do that, just get the support for you, because this is a really difficult place to be. So there are lots of ways to tip that balance so that your loved one realizes that being sober is more attractive than being intoxicated. And here today, I'm going to give you the lowdown on what works and what doesn't. So let's start with what does not work. Waiting for your loved one to hit rock bottom. Okay, if all we do is wait for a loved one to hit rock bottom, then that's pretty disempowering, isn't it? Like I've already said, we can't change somebody else. That has to be their decision. But what you can do is learn ways in which you can influence that change in somebody through a kind, caring, and compassionate approach. All right. What is rock bottom anyway? Not quite sure. I mean, the ultimate rock bottom is death, isn't it? Like, do we want to wait for that potentially to happen? I don't want that for you. So what I would suggest is that don't wait around for that to happen. Lots of people within groups, within organizations, within 12 steps, that may be meaningful to them, and I'm not going to disrespect that, but you're talking about people that are in, ideally in recovery there, that are looking back and saying, that was my bottom. That's fine. We don't want to wait for that as a family member though, right? There are other strategies that we can use. Shouting, screaming, making demands, none of those things work, all right? All it's going to do is use your energy up in a negative way. It's going to create conflict. Your loved one is not going to want to respond to that, and nobody is going to achieve very much from it. Occasionally, you might like to get things off your chest. So I'm not saying if you do that, you're wrong, because I think we can all get angry and stressed, and sometimes people need to hear that, right? But is it going to make any difference? I am not sure about that. It's probably going to create an excuse for your loved one to go and use or drink. Ultimatums, do they work? If you do this, I do that. There's a couple of problems with this strategy, because if we use ultimatums, do we stick to them? I use ultimatums all the time with my kids, right? We talk about consequences all the time. That's what I talk about in my work. If you do this, the consequence of this behavior is going to be this. And it's all right saying it, but how hard is it sticking to it, sticking to those boundaries? That is just on another level, right? So what we need to be thinking is, ultimatums, am I actually going to stick to them? Are they realistic? Have I stuck to them before? Have they worked? Probably not, right? And actually, again, it's probably going to get your loved ones back up. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes, if there is somebody in serious danger, if it is the only option to offer an ultimatum, then yeah, use that. But we want to avoid them as much as possible. What about taking control and policing? So what I mean by policing is kind of searching rooms, searching clothes, looking for evidence that they've used, controlling money, all of those type of things, yeah? Controlling where somebody's going, giving them lifts everywhere, right? Is that going to work? I don't think so. Sometimes there's going to have to be certain elements of that. So things like drug testing, for example, it's not something that I would recommend to all of my clients. But do you know what? If you have got a loved one that's giving your children a lift to school in the mornings and doing the school run, and you're worried they're intoxicated, and you have an agreement that, they do that, then, I can't disagree with that, can I? That's sensible. But all this policing, again, it's taking up all your energy, all of your focus. There's no time for you. Doesn't really work. Your loved one on the receiving end of that is just being controlled, right? They are not making a conscious decision to make a change. They are having it enforced. So that's different. And what's going to happen when you pull back from that? They're not going to have learned how to problem solve. They're not going to have learned how to recover in their own way. It's going to have been forced on them, right? We don't want that. We want your loved one to come to that decision themselves, that actually this drug, this alcohol isn't giving me very much in my life. So therefore, I am going to go and do X, Y, and Z, get help, go to a counsellor, go to day rehab, or whatever. And also with that policing, it's not good for you. It's not good for your well-being. And that's what we work on a lot in my programs. So, and the last one here is focusing on getting your loved one the help and not you. So again, I cannot tell you the amount of times I've had family members ringing me saying, can you help my loved one? Can you work with them? I don't need the help. It's happened recently in the past couple of months when families have spoken to me. I can do drug work. I am a trained and qualified drug and alcohol practitioner. However, I don't like doing it without the family members getting their own support as well. That is what my ethos is all about. So don't keep focusing on getting your loved one to change and accept the help. When you're there, you exist, you can start getting the help yourself. What better person or people is there to support a loved one through into their recovery and through that recovery than the people that are living with them day in, day out, or the people that are in contact with them day in, day out, week in, week out? It's not me that might see a client once a week for an hour or so. It's you. So, invest in yourselves, but it's not just about you getting your loved one to change. It's about you getting the help for yourself as well. So it's two separate things there that are conjoined, but you need to focus on yourself. So what does work then? Number one, openness and honesty. You need to, I work with families to be open, honest, and direct about what they are experiencing. All right. Being assertive is another one. So how do you tell somebody how you feel so that you can get your needs met in a compassionate way, so the other person doesn't feel like they're being attacked? Massive pieces of work that I do around this. Allowing your loved one to experience the consequences of the use. This is really hard, and we refer to not doing that as enabling behaviors, because what happens is families, friends, partners, colleagues end up rescuing their loved one from the consequences of their use. But what that does, it stops them from experiencing the problems associated with it, and they get used to somebody wiping up the mess, right? So we've got to reverse that somehow. And I'm not saying you can't help them. That isn't what we're doing. We're talking about becoming a helpful helper and reducing those enabling behaviors so that your loved one experiences those consequences, which tips that balance so that being sober becomes more attractive than being intoxicated. By responding and not reacting. So when we are stressed, we react. We all do it. We react emotionally instead of responding strategically. So this is some of the stuff I teach. Treating your loved one with love, care, compassion, and kindness, even sometimes when you absolutely cannot stand them. We've got to kind of tip into that, because if you're coming to me for help, it means you want to persevere with that relationship. You want to be in relationship with your loved one. So there's got to be certain ways of responding to them. And then learning effective strategies to cope. So like I've said, reducing enabling, setting healthy boundaries, learning positive communication and things like that. All right, so I'm already on 12 minutes. It is 10-ish minutes this live. So what I would say is get your own help. I work with family after family coming to me asking for help. Like I've already said, I'm really excited at the moment because I am creating a 28-day program for only £99. It's starting on the 6th of November. You can DM me for details, or like I say, you can join the mailing list here at vestaapproach.co.uk/freebie. And if you sign up to that mailing list, you will get my 10 ways to family recovery free download to start your family recovery today. And you will also get the notifications about the new program as well. So if you have any comments, questions, or queries, drop them in below. DM me if you'd rather not drop them in the comments, and I will happily reply to anything. All right. Thank you very much. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.